right, Jim. Well, there's no more time to waste since you have no gremlin thoughts. Let's get to the many topics and the many things happening as we are recording.
Well, some of these involve gremlins.
Well, let's start with WWE Raw, which I have to say may have been the best episode I've seen in as long as I can remember. There was a lot of stuff on this show that hooked me. It was really good.
Well, that's right. You were saying right before we went on the air, you were trying to. It was the best Raw since, and you couldn't remember when the since was. So, and again, 2 hours has made a difference at least. And we've said this even when the show was boring. Which over the past few weeks, we've almost. I think 1 week we did say, F it. There's so little interesting. We didn't talk about it.
No, I usually tell you, let's please not do Raw because it's not really that good. But this week it was phenomenal.
Well, and remember then I'd said, I think it was last week or two, you think they're cooling this show off just so they can, which is a business strategy in the wrestling business, as we talked about when we mentioned that. If you can't be hot forever, you can't floor it, you can't go 100 miles an hour without slowing down for a curve, whatever. In the old days, the guys would, the promoters, the bookers would figure out a little way to pull it back without just stinking a joint out. If they had a big show coming up, so they could take another run at that hill and boom, 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 and peak things. Makes sense when you were doing this every week or every 2 weeks or every month in the same town year after year. I said, were they cooling Raw off to have the big Netflix, boom? But truthfully and honestly, that they've started promoting the big Netflix boom, but they throw a show like this in and everybody was going, wow. And they're still selling everything out. So even if they weren't going to have a Netflix boom, they have now created an atmosphere where they get the top guys to come out and talk to each other and do angles, and they fill it up with matches that mostly, And then every once in a while, when they do a show that everybody likes, it's like, wow. And it helps business, and they're still selling out, but they don't need to do it every week. It's the exact opposite of the company that is doing it every week to the point where they can't give tickets away in some places because they do it every fucking week all the time, and it's lost its meaning. So they were in Everett, Washington for Raw, which I understand is north of Seattle. I forgot to get my atlas out to see how far north it is. But the Angel of the Winds Arena sold out, the 64th sellout of the year, as Joe Pepitone had told us several times in the show. And by the way, how can you name something the Angel of the Winds Arena?
Well, Kenny Omega was the arena's creative director.
Oh, okay, hold on. There you go.
What was that? I thought I was get applause or something. What was that? A cash register?
Well, no, that was easy. That was easier. That was like a thumbs up. That's money.
Okay, now I know for the future. Now I know.
See that? Yeah, when you hit a money line, there you go. But the Angel of the Winds, it sounds like a Seals and Crofts sponsorship, But there's the 64 sellout of the year, and these people hit the lottery. They actually got to see one of the very few Raws, and all kinds of shit took place. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. They've gotten now to where every once in a while they could do a fucking show like this and coast on it. And the other guys are over there with public beheadings. So they did a Survivor Series package and then showed the people arriving as they have been doing it. And then when they got to Punk, the camera followed him as they've been doing it through the back, through Gorillo, and into Like Mussolini. It's clobbering time. See, you like it when I hit higher notes, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. I don't like any of it.
Well, you said the other day higher notes was more in my...
I said Michael Jackson was more in your range. I didn't say that I like any of whatever you do.
Wait a minute. Like Mussolini.
It's easier on the ear.
The kid is not my son.
It's easier on the ear. That was Stan Lane's song, wasn't it?
No, that was the bitch is not my daughter. Uh, but what are you anyway? He got the big CM Punk chance. Did CM Punk as he came hurtling out of the chute? And he did the promo, because this is his first time really talk with it since he'd been back from the Hell in a Cell. And here's the update. He's settled with Drew. And he handled the business with his friend Paul Heyman. And now he knows what the future holds. And he, teased the verb as seeing the sign. Talking about the WrestleMania sign that is not hanging up yet. But he talked about the different roads and the different ways that you could go to finish your story. And the people are with this. And when he's finished the story, they know what's going on. And he said, I could choose the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber. I've got a favor or two in my pocket to help me out if I need it politically, I think he said. And then suddenly, boom, Seth Franklin Rollins music interrupts. And of course, so what now Punk's natural goal after he's done these things would be to main event WrestleMania. That's what he's teasing. But then suddenly here comes the guy that just cannot get over a grudge with people, certain people. And I like that even when he came out, when Seth came out in the shiny pleather suit, he was not the joking, the innovator, the duplicator, the masturbator. He was serious. He don't like this fucking guy. So they're knowing when to. The fans were still singing the whoa. See, that's not my note. But they yes.
I was just going to say, as you said, what the fans are doing, it was interesting that the fans took more with Punk than Rollins.
Well, yes, because, and that's the thing is that they sang whoa, 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 and the Punk and Rollins milked it, but then they had the CM Punk chance after that, and they milked that. Because this first segment was like 20-something fucking minutes, and it didn't get long. It didn't get old. And the thing is, when Seth starts out with the, I should have knocked your ass out the day you came back. But I had pity for you after Hell in a Cell. I didn't take my shot then. And after Saturday, it's time to rectify my mistakes. And he's started to take his jacket off and everything. He says, the only thing between us is air and hatred, and tonight's the night that I knock you on your ass. And the people like Punk, they want Seth, philosophically, psychologically, however you say it, they want Seth to get with the program. He's a baby face. He's helped the baby faces, right? And they still like Seth, but at the same time, they like Punk. And since Seth is the one not getting with the program, it's subtle, but it's there. And just the way that they are verbalizing these things. And that's why this is so fucking good. Because somebody's put a lot of thought into all of this. And Punk's, attitude is like, you talk too much and you don't listen. I put personal stuff in the past. You have nothing I want. You're not a champion. I know what my future is, and kid, you ain't in it. And you thought about me for 6 months, and I don't think about you at all. That got a pop. And so he said, I've got things to do in this business, so stay out of my business. It's just subtle that Seth is still, going to this length, right? He's holding this grudge. And Seth, you talk too much and don't listen enough. This is my business. And he shoves Punk on his ass. And then Punk gets up, oh, motherfucker, and he locks up with Seth. And here then takes him down. Here they go. And here comes Sammy and Jay in to separate them because they've got an interest in these people. And by that point, the crowd is just let them fight, let them, because they want to see the fucking fight. They have been wanting to see this match. This could potentially be a WrestleMania main event, co-main event, however they're going to structure this thing. But anyway, Pierce came out and he's trying to, calm Punk down, and Seth is on the microphone, and Punk reaches in, tries to pull him out. They've got the agents and everything going on. And then and Jay is out there trying to take Punk back, and Seth tells Jay, yeah, go ahead. Run along to Roman. So we're about to get to the second act, but you got to react to what has gone on so far.
I thought Punk's promo was good. It was going somewhere. You were waiting to see where it went, and then it got interrupted, and then the direction that went in was great. He used that great Don Draper line from Mad Men, I never think about you at all.
Yeah.
And that interaction with him and Rollins was great. Rollins seething and Punk fucking with his head. And then when they went at it, it was a little thing that you never see when they finally went at it. Punk threw a few shots, clearly trying to hit the air, which he did.
Yeah.
But it looked good because you never see someone go and throw punches. Rollins may have got him on the nose. I don't know. but Punk was throwing shots at the air for like a half a second before he went down. That was great. And again, this had gone on a while. Still wanted it to go on. It was not over. And it was a great opening segment. And then Act 2, like you said, they got Punk out of there. And somehow the story got even more intriguing.
So then, since Jay went with Punk, trying to get him out of there, Sammy is in the ring with Seth, trying to get him calmed down. And then as soon as Seth has said to Jay, who's already in the aisleway with Punk and Pierce and all those folks, yeah, run along to Roman, then Sammy bows up at Seth and says, hey, I'm, all due respect, whatever, you don't get to talk to Jey Uso that way.
What was that line?
Well,
don't talk to my girlfriend like that. I mean, that's one thing, but you don't get to talk to Jey Uso that way?
Well, but it got an ooh from the audience, so maybe they've had to say that a number of times. I don't know. But
I am his protector. You better not say that. What the fuck?
So it was Sammy that was Lasertron, protector of the children all along.
Yeah, like you said, it worked, but it's kind of a silly line when you really think about it.
Yes, I would think you need to show Jey Uso a little more respect or something, maybe. But the point was that you don't get to talk to Jay that way. And said that, I'm sorry, my bad. Jay's family, he's part of the family there. But what's your excuse, Sammy? And the crowd starts chanting, Sammy Uso, Sammy Uso. So again, Seth is being the more confrontation, the more grudgeful person with poor old Sammy, who just wants everybody to get along and have peace on earth and give me love, give me peace on earth, that type of thing. So Seth is supposed to be the cactus in this fucking arrangement. And Seth says, you and I are closer than them. We were family too. You stabbed me in the back. With CM Punk teaming up. The whole thing is he's mad because everybody's teamed with Roman and everybody's teamed with Punk. And Sammy came back, and this was perfect because Sammy could say, I didn't want him. I wanted you. I asked you twice and you said no. And Seth said, well, what did you want me to do? You wanted me to help the monster, Roman Reigns. After all I'd done and all he'd done to me and all I'd done to try to get rid of him. And Sammy's, you created the monster 10 years ago with the chair shot. So talk about long-term booking. And Seth fired up. And he ended up with, you did the same damn thing. He was being serious and not the, as we mentioned, the flamboyant or whatever. But you hit him with a fucking chair too. We all did all of this to take down the bloodline. And Roman hasn't changed or apologized. And you're teaming with him. You're gullible and you're stupid. I mean, this is great. It's not some contrived bullshit about the time that you blew me up with a hand grenade in the exploding ring match in the parking lot in fucking Nagoya. It's simple shit that makes sense, that they have left these points along the way that they can back up with video to tell these fucking stories.
Yeah, see, that's what it is. Everything references things that if you're a fan, you remember or could easily find out about.
Yes. And they're saying the things that they would say if some of them were as articulate in real life. But all these guys are great on the promos. But they're telling the story and then they're fighting about what the story is, and everybody's got a fucking gripe. And so Sammy says, well, you want to blow some steam off? I'll take you on tonight. And Seth agreed to it. And we were 25 minutes into the show without taking a commercial break, with all of these people having come out to talk to us. And it wasn't old at all. It could have kept on going. They could have sent somebody else out there. Well, I mean, they did send somebody else out, but I mean to talk to us.
That was the best opening segment on Raw in a long time. There was one a few weeks ago I liked. Remember with Liv Morgan and Dominic in the stands going at it with Rhea and Priest? I thought that was...
Boy, now I'd like to see the home video of that. Liv and Dominic in the stands going at it with...
Well, too bad your friend Bonnie Lee Bakley's not around to support.
Well, you know, Bonnie could track down the hard-to-find stuff.
But this was a fantastic segment. Every single person that was on the mic delivered. Sammy was perfect. Rollins was perfect. Punk was perfect. Jey Uso was out there, and then he got called out. You never saw him again.
Yeah.
I don't know where he went. I guess he carried Punk away or helped push him.
Well, he did help, usher Punk to a safer location.
Even the timing when Rollins and Punk went at it, the timing of when Sammy and Jay hit the ring and then when Pierce and the officials hit the ring, everything was done perfect. This was great.
And that's another thing is
and there's so much stuff still left. You're still left with Punk and Rollins hanging above all of this.
Yes. And to your point about, you know, people came out in escalating orders of importance and or et cetera, instead of just sending 20 security guys, let's everybody take a big bump, or what it looked more real and or chaotic and or just people trying to get in the middle of something. So, 25% of the show was that. That's the same length as even longer than a 30-minute sitcom or television program with commercials, and they took up the whole amount of time, and it was excellent.
And there wasn't just dead silence from the fans. The fans were invested in this long talking segment with action. It was perfect.
Yes, well, and they were part of it actually also because they were chanting and singing and saying all the right things in the right places and oohing and eyeing. They were the studio audience. Almost for them now is I'd say a laugh track, it's almost like it's pre-recorded. They know what to, well, most of them, they're still the Karrion Crosses of the world, but most of them can get a reaction of what, you know, to what they're doing. Is they don't even have to pipe it in anymore. Anyway, but speaking of that, of piping things in, they had, I don't know why I did that segue.
Very interesting transition there, yeah.
Well, they piped in the Damage Control against Liv Morgan and Rochelle match. And I wasn't going to watch that, but boy, after the finish, when the heels won, here came Maria Ripley, and I had to stop and pay attention. And she and Rochelle had a big fight, and finally Rhea got a chance to run Liv into the post, but Rochelle ran Rhea's face into the desk, and then here came some more referees and security. And the people start chanting, "Mommy, mommy, mommy."
It's like a daycare center.
Well, actually, you know, it's more like the cry for attention from mommy, mommy, mama, mama, mom, mom. I forgot you're not a Stewie Griffin
I have
aficionado.
no idea what you're talking about. You know what? I know you're not a big fan and you may at times put her down, even though you've actually given her some good reviews too. I'm an EO Sky fan. I think EO Sky's really good.
Stacy likes EO Sky.
Because Stacy's smart.
Well, now see, I can't
say anything, can
I
you?
can't really dispute anything about that, or elsewise it would cause me even more consternation.
I found your kryptonite. I'm just going to say your wife agrees with me on all these things you have a problem with.
Well, now, goddamn. Some of these things she may not be in accordance with you on, but the thing, I'm sorry. They're minute, diminutive, and bleh. But nevertheless, they're into Rhea Ripley. But they keep trying to bash her face in after apparently they did it for real.
Raquel is what Camille should have been.
But there you go. I mean, it's the big the muscle, the hired, not hired killer, but the bodyguard, the hired muscle. And that way, little Liv can talk big because she's got the big girl backing her up. That could have been the same thing with little fucking Mercedes moaning. But I don't know what the fuck they did there.
All right, well, let's continue on with the best Raw in a very long time.
Well, when it doesn't make it sound like it as we've been going on here, but nevertheless, Gunther is in the back, and boy, howdy, there's going to be a fantastic match coming up shortly, and I'm not being sarcastic. One of my favorite things of the night, but they had Finn come in and interrupt Gunther as he was trying to speak, and Dom is there. And Finn's deal is Gunther owes him a title match. Because instead of kicking him in the face like he did at the Survivor Series, he ought to be thanking him because he helped him win. And Gunther said, I didn't want your help, and you don't deserve a title match. And he looked at Dom, and I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but it was mostly like, this little weasel deserves a match better than you do. And so Gunther says, I'm going to go talk to Pierce. And because I've got a little pull around here. And the whole thing of Finn is upset. He got beat by Priest, at least Dominic, before when they did that angle, had beaten Priest, blah, blah, blah. So later on, we're going to get Gunther or we should just go ahead and talk about Gunther and Dom, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's talk about that now.
The same flow of things, because we've got a long time to get there. The match was fucking perfect. And this, again, it's two heels, but they have been kind of painting Gunther in somewhat of a more straight-laced category in terms of he doesn't want Kaiser to help him. He doesn't need other people's help. He's somewhat of a sympathetic heel, if that makes any sense. Whereas they really don't like Dom. But at the same point, this match was so good. At one point, they were just thinking Dominic was going to fucking win, and they wanted to see it because Gunther's still a heel after all. So, I mean, this shit was great. And they worked the match perfectly, as I've talked about before, when you have to work with a guy not based on what he can do, but based on what he should do, what his gimmick, his character is supposed to do. Gunther's manhandled everybody, and the chop levels everybody. And he's so big and powerful. That's his gimmick. Dominic is a weaselly chicken shit and a kind of a coward, but he, at the same time, he can do shit, especially when he gets an unfair advantage. So he cheats. And this was perfect for that. Dominic got offense all over the place, but it was all set up. I'm pretty sure Gunther was calling this, but it was set up to where Dominic would take over back, like when Gunther went to powerbomb him. Dominic sat back and Hurricane Hurricane Rana Gunther head first into the ring post and hit him with a quick drop kick. And then a dive, but then Gunther just took over on him and beat the fuck out of him. And toyed with him and chopped the shit out of him. And then he would get a sleeper, but Dominic would mule kick him in the nuts and give him a 619 to the nuts. And then I think a 619 to the head and then a splash off the top rope. And when he got the 2 count, there was a big pop and the fans were chanting, "Dirty Dom, Dirty Dom." They were working this thing perfectly. And then right after that, Gunther hit him with a chop, a big boot, and a power bomb and pinned him 1, 2, 3 and got another big pop. But that was before we even talk about the little skirmish after the fact. This is, if anybody wants to know what I'm talking about when I say, I'm sure that Dominic, if Gunther wanted him to vertical suplex him 17 times in a row, could do it. But it doesn't make sense. So if anybody wants to know what I'm talking about of working with the guy the way that he's supposed to be perceived and not do anything stupid on either side, this is it. I don't know. What did you think? Am I too easily pleased these days?
No, this was really good. The fans were really into it. I guess my only thing is you pointed out the fans chanting Dirty Dom and being behind him. I brought it up, I think, last week during a review. And I was getting that feeling a little bit here, especially backstage confronting the entire Judgment Day, who are a heel stable. Gunther. I mean, I thought they were setting it up for Gunther to get babyface reactions.
Well, but here's the thing. He got one when he won the match. But their match was so good because on the surface of it, you know, people would think, okay, it's a TV match with Gunther and Dominic, and he's going to beat Dominic up because fuck Dominic. Dominic's a puss or what. You're right. But they got him into the goddamn thing to where they thought they were going to see an upset. They thought that Dominic was going to beat Gunther for the world title and they were going to get to see it in person because all this other wild shit's going on. So that they were getting behind. And then when Gunther beat him and brought him back to reality, they cheered for him because he's so fucking good. So it was really great. Everybody looked better than they did going in because Dominic got that offense on this guy so you can take him a little more seriously, but still, it's fucking Gunther, and we were brought back to reality. And then Finn came in and leveled Gunther and hit a double stomp off the top and then told Dominic, "Watch and learn, kid." See, with that accent just like that. And hit another one, and then a third one, and laid the belt over Gunther. But now, because of the Bronson Reed precedent, the fans were chanting one more time, because they just want to see it. At this point, they just want to see every goddamn thing. So everybody here, because they're really all heels, at one point or another, they're cheering for everybody. Because they're doing shit that they like to see. But over a longer period of time, Gunther is I don't know if they're going to turn him babyface or just they're playing with this now that there's such levels to this. He'll be a heel, but a more honorable heel, and there may be something go on with him and Kaiser. But anyway, nevertheless, that was fun. So now they're talking good and working good. Holy shit, on the same show even. And it's not over yet.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw a question at you. Don't answer it now. Answer it at the end. What got into them this week? Because it's such a... The pacing of the show was good. Again, 2 hours, I know, but the amount of things that happen with people you care about, something happened with people I typically don't care about, and it pulled me completely in. Like, what got into them this week with this show?
Well, it's about time. because in 4 weeks they're going to Netflix, and not only do they have the Saturday night's main event in December that they're adding things to here, but also coming up on Royal Rumble, which is in a stadium, right? Again, another stadium. So this is about the time to start revving things up a little bit. So that's why I'm wondering. I was thinking it might be for Netflix, but maybe is it just they slowed things down for a few weeks so they could rev back up about this time. And they got John Cena coming back. So I think that you know, they just got a fucking wild hair up their ass to start this week. But anyway, they also had an Intercontinental title tournament, 3-way women's blah blah, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and Katana Chance, and they didn't have a chance that I was going to watch that. But then the New Day, they did a package on, because it was the 10th anniversary of the New Day, the formation of the team. And so they did a history package, video package on them with Kofi and Xavier and Big E and the Trombones and the Serial and the Bootios and the Bootians and Kofi was when he won the title, Kofi, he was the champion, and Big E was the champion, and Xavier was king of the ring. It didn't say anything about Odyssey. Where do you think Odyssey was?
That's a good question.
Somebody ought to go out on an Odyssey and look for him.
He's almost like a figment of your imagination. He was there, but was he really? He was there and then he was gone. Did he really exist?
Yeah, because Big E could come out. Hey, who's that big fucking guy you were talking about a few months ago? Now, anyway, I never got the Trombones and the Serial and I think each of the guys in their own way individually were good, especially Woods, to me, were good workers, but the outfits and the Trombones and the Serial and etc. was always so silly. And it had already been established by the time that you and I started watching this programming again. So, but I never got it. It's like what Dennis Miller said about the reunification of East and West Germany. I didn't like their previous work, and I'm not sure I want to see the new stuff, right? As a tag team or people with trombones, I didn't want to see these people. But by the time they finish the next 15 minutes, I want to see these fucking people. As long as they drop the trombones and the fucking Serial. This was great. I couldn't believe that. Could you believe this was great, what we're about to talk about?
This is the best thing I've ever seen with the New Day ever. It said that it's their breakup. It was the best thing I've ever seen them do, and everyone did a great job, but the facial reactions from Big E,
yes,
as this was happening, were the most believable reactions of someone who is disappointed, crushed, whatever you want to say. This segment was astounding. Best thing any of them have ever done. Incredible.
And I mean, you know that they had, because everything that they said made sense and was complicated, and you had to remember the history and the stuff. So they had to really put a lot of work in it, because they did great. But for the folks who didn't see it, they had the ring set up and the balloons and belts and big blown up pictures on tripods and Serial in the ring. The WWE treatment, yes, but the 10th anniversary of the New Day. And they're the most decorated tag team in WWE history, which again, but then they've been there for 10 years in the days of top tag teams all over the business. Nobody stayed in the one company and won the belts 12 times unless it was a smaller territory. But nevertheless.
And by the way, Demolition not just had tag titles, but they literally decorated their face. So you could say they're the most decorated tag team of all time.
You're just a Demolition fan and you're reaching now.
You just hate Demolition.
I don't hate Demolition. As Barry Darso, I've loved him, known him since
You like the people.
Louisiana, and I didn't even. I'm being honest. When yes, it was Vince's answer to the Road Warriors, and it was it was like they were the Fantastics to the Rock and Roll Express. How's that?
You know, some say it's Vince's reaction to the Road Warriors. Other people say it's Randy Colley's reaction to the Road Warriors.
Well, it could be that also. But anyway, so Pierce congratulated him, and the fans chanted for him. And was it ever explained in years gone by why Woods holds the microphone like that? It's very off. I can't look away.
I don't know an explanation, no.
I don't know. But so Woods was humble and said thank you to all the fans, and Kofi did the same. And remember last week, they got in an argument. They just told each other what the fuck was wrong with each other and how they needed to modify their behavior. And as you'll recall, when we talked about it, I said it sounded like they both had a bit of a point, right? This sounded irreconcilable. And so they've got the somber faces, and Wood says, what we're about to tell you fans is not your fault. And Kofi said that, well, Woods and I have talked, and we feel that when it comes to the new day going forward, they're going to announce their fucking breakup, right? Suddenly, Big E's music plays. And he gets a big pop because he hadn't been around. Did they say it's been 4 years since he hurt his neck?
I believe they said that, but he is around. He's on like the pregame show and the postgame show for the pay-per-views on Peacock.
Well, yeah, but all right, Mr. Goddamn Randy McNally with all the minute details. He hadn't been around on Raw or SmackDown. He hadn't been part of their team. The story that they told, the announcers told, was that he is on the pregame show, but he hasn't been on Raw or SmackDown. And I believe they said 4 years. Maybe, are they exaggerating is where I was going, but you have to correct me on everything. But anyway, he hadn't been around in a while there with them in that way. And he gets in the ring, like you said, he was great. And he's like trying to be, the friend that's in the middle and the peacemaker. He gets on both of them for saying hurtful things to each other. Because all we had when we started was each other. And he did the emotional promo about all that they'd been through together when they came to his bedside in the hospital, and when the other guy did this and did that, and our children, and think of the children. God damn, think of the children. And so it was good. He was good. And he said, but here's the thing. You guys, after all we've been through together, Kane, it's not going to end this way. Until I'm medically cleared to return to the ring, I'm going to be here to remind you who you guys are. I'm going to be here to cheer you on, to uplift you, to give you spirit. I'm going to serve as your manager. Just every night I'll be with you.
And the fans popped.
And they started chanting E, 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 E. It was almost like Ishii had switched sides. And then they chanted New Day Rocks, New Day Rocks. And Big E's like, yeah. We're all excited. And I knew something was up when both Kofi and Woods had the stone faces. And I'll be a son of a gun, wouldn't you know who won the pony? They have swerved us, because all this time we've been waiting for Woods to turn on Kofi, and Woods was going to be the heel, and Woods was being the prick, and Woods wouldn't get over stuff. And they've swerved us. They're both on the same side. And they used Big E, and this was perfect because Woods said, now you want to come back after we've been arguing with each other for months. You want to come back now? You left us to begin with. And Big E said, I broke my neck. And Kofi's, you broke your neck, so what? Stone Cold broke his neck. Angle broke his neck. Edge, they all broke their necks, and they came back. They were blaming Big E. This was fucking great. They're
And he was
blaming
selling it in
Big
his
E.
face.
Yes.
Like you would almost, I don't even know how to describe it, but you would see, he would almost like mumble to himself.
Yes.
Like something he like, whoa, you know, you could tell it was perfect.
Humming. And Kofi said, you never even had surgery. You couldn't come back. You never had surgery. And Big E starts apologizing. Well, I did the therapy, and it's now please. And Kofi said, you chose your new life over us. And, you know, your new desk job. I don't know. I guess because he's at the announce desk. And your new girlfriend. I don't know if that was necessary to bring that in. You know, people may take that any way you might.
That got a reaction from the fans when they.
Well, they were kind of like, ooh, that's personal. Yeah. Who is his? Is his girlfriend someone we should know, or
we've never heard a single thing about him having a girlfriend or who it is. So that was just them throwing something out there to make it more believable.
Oh, I thought you meant so you were thinking he was gay because you never heard about him having a girlfriend.
That's not what I said. I don't know what the hell.
See, you never heard about him having a girlfriend. So
I don't ask around, but hey, so who's Big E fucking this week? I don't do
that. Yeah, a guy named Big E, you might better keep an eye on that. That might be worth knowing.
Well, if he was Big D, maybe it'd be worth knowing. But Big E, I don't know.
Well, you know what?
Why are we doing this?
E follows D, and vitamin E.
This is a serious segment we're talking about.
Vitamin E will help the D. But so anyway, Kofi said, you chose all this stuff over us. And Woods says, do you realize the burden that you've become to us? We miss you, but you don't miss us, and you're never going to be cleared. So get the hell out of the ring and back to your desk where you belong. And again, his lip is quivering, and his eyes are just puddling up, and he's off microphone. He's not even speaking on a microphone. He's standing there and he's looking like he don't know whether to go or to stay. And then he's talking, and you can hear it because the camera microphone is picking it up. I'm not going to let you throw this away like that. I'm not going to let you throw this away like that. His arms are out. He wants a hug, and Kofi stiff arms him. And he said, no, it can't. No, you can't. And he gets out of the ring heartbroken. They're putting up all kinds of argument about this, which made it, all the better. And as he's moping off, Woods and fucking Kofi shake hands with each other. And it's like, yeah, we've always got Buenos Aires or whatever the fuck. And so did anybody suspect that was coming in that fashion?
Not in that fashion, no. I guess the next question is, where do they go from here? The heel, I don't know if you call them the New Day, but the heel Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston team could be interesting. Who they working with? Is Big E coming back? And if not, is he going to be the manager for someone else? Where are they going to go with it? Like, there has to be a match with someone.
Well, here's the thing. Because remember I said when Odyssey was involved, and it looked like Woods was turning on both of them because he wasn't happy about Kofi liking the big man or whatever. I was thinking, well, goddamn, Woods better get mad or get glad, one or the other, because what's he going to do about it? If he turns that he's got this 400-pound guy and his partner, and he needs some help, who would that be? So maybe now that they were building to doing this type of turn, and now that I'm talking it through, it sounds plausible. They were building toward doing this type of turn with Odyssey Jones, where they would both turn as a team on him in this kind of fashion. And since he didn't work out, they said, well, let's do it with Big E. E does not have to be returning now, or to be E was the straw that stirred this, in terms of he had the most history with them. if they had to come up with a plan B, and they noticed that, well, now in just a couple months it'll be 10 years and Big E doesn't have to wrestle, we can just turn these guys heel because we want them to be a heel team. Then E was what the device that was used to make sure the people know they're heels, and then they could shoot some kind of angle with a tag team. And I don't think that, I think we would have heard about it if E was going to be cleared anytime in the near future. So I think this would, because how can you not be a heel when you're turning on your former partner that broke his neck and people know it for real?
Yeah, I guess we're also got to see what happens next. I mean, it's not like they put hands on him other than like pushing him away. They didn't hit him. That'd be a major heel move that would get some heat.
Well, and it also might be a move that can get some legal support in court if anything happened to him. And he sued TKO for $7 billion.
Well, we'll see where they go. But while we're going through this Raw, let's wrap it all up. Let's get to everything else here.
Well, yes, because now we got to go back ahead past Gunther and Dominic. And we get to the main event after R-Truth beats Butch. And less said about that, the better.
And now the fans are all chanting Butch at him like a taunt.
And I still say something is the matter with the shape of his face. It's put together like a ransom note. I don't know what's going on.
I still say this man.
Well, I maintain that this individual has an oddly contoured face. And you argue with me, at least chastise me for saying it every time I bring it up. But anyway, Seth and Sammy was the main event. And, and by the way, Finn and Gunther has been added to the Saturday night's main event extravaganza. But Seth and Sammy, and again, you want to see what's going to go on, because is Seth going to turn full-fledged heel and pull out a goddamn Roto-Rooter and disembowel Sammy, or is something else going to happen with them? But what's going to go on, right? At least you're interested. So it's two baby faces. And again, they get us there, and then they do an open where they pie face each other a couple times and do a big running spot, and they go to the break in 30 seconds. So they come back with 7 minutes on the air. So this is just an angle to get to the next chapter. But the fans were behind Sammy because he's the likable, sympathetic one in this situation. Even though if Seth was to turn around and do something to somebody they don't like, they'd be just as happy about it as they ever were. And finally, boom, boom, Sammy had hit a blue thunder bomb and got a 2 count and ran for the big kick, but Seth came out with the super kick, but missed a curb stomp. And Sammy rolled out to the floor, and Seth came out and tried to reason with him. Look, I don't want this fight. It's over Roman. And Sammy, and we forgot to say this, because right before the goddamn break that this came up, they found Jey Uso had been beaten up and attacked and whatever else had happened to him in the back. It's so dangerous back there.
And that was done really well, too. I forget who Jackie Redmond was even talking to. She was interviewing someone.
It was Butch.
And then agents started running by, and she just goes, go, go, go. And they ran with the agents, the cameraman, to see Jey Uso down.
Yes, but see, that would be great if we had not seen it on every television program from both companies for the last 3 years or so. I would love stuff like that if you didn't see it about 16 times a fucking week. How many times does AEW have somebody get potatoed in the fucking backstage area on every television show, and they got 3 shows a week?
However many times they show the backstage area.
Well, Larry, so anyway, but Sammy's thinking that it was Seth. And Sammy is screaming, I know it was you. And Sammy slaps Seth in the face. And so Seth's a motherfucker. And he runs Sammy into the post twice and then throws him into the timekeeper's pit. Is that what we should call it? They've got their own separated off area that wrestlers can be thrown into that without anybody being sued.
It's the Timekeeper's Corner.
I prefer pit.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for the Timekeeper's Corner with whoever this faceless timekeeper is.
Anyway, so Seth comes out, or Sammy rather, came out of it with a big kick on Seth and then ran Seth into the post. And the fans were chanting, Sammy Uso. As Seth rolls in the ring and Sammy's he's got a chair. Then he's going to beat the shit out of Seth. And Sammy's, I know it was you. And now Seth is, what are you talking about? You attacked Jay. Me? It wasn't me. I wouldn't do that. Did you ask Punk if it was him? And now Sammy, he's conflicted. He throws the chair out and turns to go back to Seth, and Seth Small packaged him 1, 2, 3. And when they sit up and Seth tells Sammy, I love your heart, but you better start using your head. And he gets out of the fucking ring and leaves, and there's Sammy. He's always too nice. He's like the current Mick Foley. He's just too nice, and it worked against him. And as he's standing there confused over the happenings of what has happened, a guy in a hoodie gets in the ring and hits him with a fucking Claymore kick and unhoods himself and stands there, and it's Drew fucking McIntyre. Holy shit, he's back. So and we're off the air. What a show. What a show.
And we're assuming he's the one who attacked Jey Uso. What if he comes out next week and does a promo and says, I'm not the one who attacked Jey Uso? That'll lead to more. But no, this was really good and good match. I liked the finish, the way it happened. You know, he told Sammy the thing, rattled him and got him. And now we got McIntyre, who we kind of forgot about in just a month or whatever it was. Back in the main event picture. Is Sammy and McIntyre and Jey Uso going to play out here on Raw or on SmackDown? Because they're all on SmackDown as part of the big bloodline thing right now, aren't they?
Well, God, they're here too. They're over here now. I think they can be this company is setting gate records and viewing records on the Peacock, and stadium shows are coming up, and they've got Netflix coming up and all these stars. I think, and also, didn't they split the rosters because Fox and USA could be sold as having different talent on their programs? That dichotomy of relationships is coming to an end. Can't anybody just be on anything? But one way or another, boom, they were there.
We shall find out. That was WWE Raw. Again, a great episode. Go out of your way to see the things that happen here. But Jim,
yes,
seeing the wrestlers on this show, everyone looks like they're in good shape. You kind of have to be. It's a cosmetic injury. It's a cosmetic industry. You may need to make sure you consume the right things, and everyone needs protein.
Well, you know what? It's what you put in your body, Brian. It's the fuel that an athlete puts in his body, or that anybody puts in their body. It's fuel. It's what you run on. If you put old sludge in your carburetor, why then your thermostat's going to blow completely off of the O-ring, right?
I have no idea.
Well, there you see, you don't know anything about cars, but the point is, folks, if you put the wrong things in your body, your fucking thermostat won't line up correctly with your O-ring, and you'll blow your sphincter out. But we, fortunately, here at the program, have been talking about for some time now the delicious and wonderful 30-gram protein shakes coming to us from the people over at Orgain. I say they taste like a chocolate milkshake, but then that sounds like it's just horrible for you and not something that someone that wants to take care of their body would drink, but it's delicious, but it's only got 1 gram of sugar, but it's got 30 grams of protein. So right there, that protein, 30 grams of it, they're going to kick the shit out of that 1 gram of sugar. And once that you've had a gram of sugar kicked the shit out of, a lot of grams of sugar won't come back to that neighborhood. So you can't dispute those facts, can you, Brian?
There's so much to dispute that it's hard to even narrow down what to dispute. All we could say is protein is for you, and Orgain has delicious chocolatey protein. I had one this morning when I drove my daughter to high school, and I think whether you are driving your kids in traffic or working out, you got to feed your body and feed your muscles protein.
Yeah, feed your muscles. Well, if you're driving your kids in traffic, you need a good 16 or 24 ounce glass bottle that you can sidearm fling out the fucking window at some asshole that cut you off. But these come in a wonderful carton that is sealable and opens right up, and you can put the cap back on it so you can save some of the healthy goodness until later on. But 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, made with no artificial flavors or sweeteners or soy ingredients to help you maintain a healthy lifestyle, manage hunger. It's convenient protein-packed nutrition on the go that satisfies cravings without all the sugar. See, I have cravings, Brian. I have a sugar on my back. And I love the sweet stuff, but I got sugar on my back as opposed to a monkey.
Oh, is that what Kota Ibushi had on his back?
Well, no, I think he had a goddamn giant Mount Vesuvius pimple. But nevertheless, if you got the sugar shack on your back, then you need to cut down on your sugar, boost up on your protein, and you can do things like that with Orgain. And right now, folks, again, all you got to do is go to Orgain, ORGAIN.com to find out. They've got all the information there, Orgain.com. They're available in all of the deliciousness and flavors. And if you go to Orgain.com/JCE and use the code JCE, you're going to get 20% off your order. So that's like out of every 10 shakes you order, you're getting 2 for free, right? I did the math right there, didn't I, Brian?
One of the great things about Orgain, no math needed, just chocolatey protein goodness.
Well, I'm just talking about how much money the people are saving. So if you order 100 chocolate shakes of the goodness, then you'll get like 20 for free. And if you order 1,000, you'll get 200. You're going to put them out of business. And then actually, if you ordered with this kind of discount, if you wanted to order 10,000 and then resell them on a street corner out of your trunk of your car, because you could mark them up 20%, and plus you could even mark them up more because you're right in front of these people with the trunk of your car. So Orgain.com/JCE, use the code JCE for 20% off your order of Orgain and start your own cottage industry with only 1 gram of sugar and 30 grams of protein.
Once again, Orgain is for you. Get one today. I endorse them. They are fantastic. Orgain, one more time, what's that promo code, Jim?
Of course, again, there are state regulations against doing what I just advised people to do, so they could probably technically be arrested. But
state and federal, let's be clear.
Well, and especially if you cross state lines over the course of a metropolitan area. But I think some people be sneaky enough they might be able to get away with it. Orgain.com/JCE, 20% off. The promo code, again, is JCE.